So I just want to cover this topic really quick. As you guys know, I've always talked about the Greys and the reptilians, and a lot of times I call them aliens, but they're not really aliens in outer space. They're aliens from underground, so they're not really aliens at all. They are in the Earth, then they go outside on the Earth, and they also have these ships, which is basically what our government reversed engineered. Okay, because the Greys and the reptilians predate humanity. Okay, so they've had technology way before humans even existed. Okay, so basically, this is what the world looks like. There is no outer space, it's water outside of the firmament. Now, about this, I don't know, this could just be a metaphor. By the way, this is the Hebrew depiction of what the world is supposed to look like. This right here, up here, could just be a metaphor. In fact, the whole entire thing could just be a metaphor because the way I see it, it's just a simulation. It's a holographic matrix which uses light and it's electromagnetic. That's why we got the Aurora Borealis going on up there. And that is why nothing can really go past. You never see rockets flying past unless they're using CGI. You always see them go up and then they go down. For some reason, they go up and then they go down. And yeah, so you can't get out. But there has been flooding, and there's been proof of a great flood because a lot of buildings, for instance, old buildings seem to have been underwater, and some are still underwater, and some have, for instance, Sumerian types of ancient-looking buildings look almost as if they've been underwater, and somehow then the water came back down and revealed a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff has been underwater for a long time. So, did a great flood happen? Probably. And so that would mean opening up these windows of the firmament, or floodgates, whatever you want to call them, letting the water in, it floods, and then it goes back down. So I'm not going to get too much into who's up here, if this is really the way it is, or if this whole thing is just a metaphor. And this is just the way we see it, right? But I'm going to focus more on the reptilians and the Greys underground. And they in fact do come from underground, because if you've ever noticed, when they're always flying up in the sky, and then when they have to go home, where do they go? They look for entrances on the Earth to go back underground. Okay, they don't go back up into space. They're here, guys. The aliens have been here, and they're not aliens. And they're underground, okay? And now when I talk about underground, there are different types of underground. Like, for instance, there's whole things underground. We're up here. There's tunnels, there's entrances, and natural entrances through caves and volcanoes that head underground, and that's the ones that a lot of aliens use, so that they have their own colonies down there. But there's also the military types of entrances, and those are different, and obviously they're newer. The tunnels that humans have made recently are newer, but the tunnels go all the way back to the ancient Hebrews, which built tunnels underground and spread throughout the whole world. And also, the tunnels go back to the aliens building tunnels underground. So there's ancient tunnels that connect them to all the continents that we know of. There's tunnels that are a lot newer, and that was basically, those were built later on, much more recently, and those are used for almost the same reason that they were used in the past. Because at the end of the day, no matter which leaders we have leading our countries and the world, those leaders always become infested with archons, and then the archons are technically aliens to us, but they're not really aliens. They're, like I told you, they're in the underworld. And then they're in the tunnels too. They're everywhere, but the ones that don't leave the underworld would be like Apollyon, or The correct name is Abaddon. The correct name is Abaddon. That's the Hebrew term. I think I've been talking about this stuff for like a long time, but I'm just gonna refresh you guys' memory. I don't think I thought I covered it on this episode of the CERN, when I was talking about like aliens and demons and how they can be teleported also. They don't actually have to fly, but they do have craft. So Abaddon is the king of locusts. And what are locusts? Locusts are insects. And this means that Abaddon is an insectoid. Now, what are gray aliens? Gray aliens are also insectoids, but some of them are actually drones and they're just like synthetic clones. But they originate from, like, if you've ever really looked at what an insectoid looks like, an insectoid pretty much looks like a gray alien. It's just that the gray alien has been, they've done genetic manipulation and editing to make it look less insectoid and more human. But the gray alien started out a lot more insectoid. Okay, and this is what basically Abaddon looks like, except this one looks more like a mantis, and Abaddon looks more like a locust. And all these types of aliens live underground. See, can you see the green, the green alien here? Like you see how, you know how there's a gray alien and then there's a green ones? Well, all this came from insectoids. Okay, so this is what the insectoids look like. They literally look just like mantises, except they're huge. They're a lot way bigger. And I think if you guys had noticed, the predator and alien look a little bit like insectoids, but the predator looks a little bit more like a reptilian. It's just its mouth kind of looks kind of like insectoid-ish, but really like the predator is more like a crustacean, like it's got like a crab type of mouth. And but at the same time, crustaceans are the insects of the ocean, you know. So you know a lot of this stuff is connected, but basically the bottom line is that the grays are were insectoids, and they still are insectoids. It's just that they've been hybridizing insectoids and humans. That's why a lot of humans get abducted in order to create a hybrid, which is basically the grays that we know now. This one's green, but just pretend it's gray. You see how it's got the human body, and then it's got the head, the alien head. But like I said, they're not really aliens. Okay, this is Abaddon. So he's down there in the underworld, and basically, when all hell breaks loose, you know, we've seen some locusts taking over, coming up here, right? But that's just a little bit. When all hell breaks loose, there's going to be locusts everywhere, and Abaddon himself is going to come up from the underworld and try to mess everything up. But okay, so here's also we got the native Terran reptilians. The native Terran reptilians also live underground, but they live also like in caverns, and some of them are a little bit more on the violent side because they're kind of like wild. You could say that they're like I don't know, like they're just more used to eating humans, so they've kind of lost their culture. But for the most part, the native Terran reptilians have their own culture, and this is what they look like, and they're not all bad. Okay. This one right here, as you can tell, looks more like an insectoid, like a gray alien. But anyways, all of these types of creatures that live underground have their own technology and ships. Here's another reptilian right here. Native Terran reptilian. Obviously, the evil types of reptilians that are Alpha Draconian, they look more like birds, kind of like what Kaninigan says. I don't know if you guys know about Kaninigan, but he's always been covering that, so I really give him credit for that. With the whole bird head, he calls it a snout too. None of these look like that, but I'm trying to see if maybe there's a good example of that. But no, just imagine like this, but with like a bird head. You know, kind of like the Thunderbird from Native American folklore, which the Thunderbird knew how to shapeshift, and the Thunderbird would actually rule over Native American cultures and pretend to be human, and would act like their leader, which the Alpha Draconians still do that to this day. But when it's not an Alpha Draconian, you can also have a regular person just get, possessed by Archons, and then the Archons start controlling that person. So either way, like, you just can't trust any politician, to be honest. Okay. Now let me show you guys some other stuff that I have here. Like this right here. I'm not sure. I think this one is an insectoid ship. Okay, so a lot of the UFOs we see, we're so used to them. So today I'm taking a break and looking at insectoids and greys. Well, I mean, insectoids are greys, but insectoid and reptilian ships. This one right here, I believe, this one is an insectoid ship. You can tell because it kind of looks like a butterfly or something. Very crazy. Yeah, let's look for another one here. Now this one is a huge deal, guys. This one is from Russia from 2019. This is a reptilian, not a tanker. Well, it could be a tanker. Actually, I think it is a reptilian tanker. Oh, no. This one, okay, this is really crazy. This one is a fish. This one is basically a fish flying in the sky. It's a manta ray, okay? A manta ray or a stingray spaceship, but it's a biological spaceship, okay? Have you guys ever watched like the History Channel or Discovery or whatever? And have you ever seen basically how fish deep down underwater can create their own light? Well, some of these manta rays, like really, what's the difference between water and air? They both have water, it's just air has less water. Some of these creatures can literally go, and there's videos of mantises trying to fly. I'm not going to look for that right now, but if you guys want to look, like there is, not mantises, manta rays and stingrays, basically jumping from the ocean and pretending to fly, and then they go back down. So some of them have a different type of it's like a bioluminescence type of creature that, they have less mass, so I guess they're more like spiritual. But some of them are straight up creatures that can just fly, okay? And this is one of these biological, look at this. You could see its tail. It's producing a light. And this is a manta ray biological spacecraft. Not spacecraft. Electromagnetic craft, or it knows how to fly, and in it you could see the tail. Let me try to get like a really good shot of it so you can really tell. Like right there, you can see it. Right there, look at that. Right there, you see the tail? Looks just like a manta ray. Look at that. Okay. Let me show you guys over here. Basically, Half-Life talked about this. Now, Half-Life is disclosure. So a lot of stuff in Half-Life is real. They talk about underground. They talk about, a lot of stuff is like relating to CERN and quantum computers, other dimensions, portals, things materializing. So in Half-Life, they call it alien aircraft. Also known as manta rays or simply mantas, are large creatures used as living aircraft by the Xenian military. So basically, insectoids or some types of fish, types of intelligent creatures, could be mermaids, I don't know. But they use these manta rays to come up from the ocean, and then these manta rays somehow have learned to fly up on the air. They're basically swimming on the air. Okay, so now obviously all of this is just, it's fake. This isn't real, but this is what they look like in Half-Life in the game. Now, I played this game back in 1998, and it changed my entire life. Basically, this is one of the first-person shooter games that I played. Before that, I was playing Counter-Strike, but Counter-Strike and Half-Life came out at the same time. But I would go to the mall or whatever and go play a Counter-Strike, online. I was basically playing online games back in 1998 when I was 8 years old. And Half-Life, which is a story mode type of game, this game changed my entire life. Okay, this game basically made me the person I am today. But anyways, this is what some type of creatures, either the reptilians or the greys or another type of creature, they use these ships, which are living ships. They're alive. Okay, Half-Life calls them living aircraft or alien aircraft, but they're living aircraft. I call them biological aircraft. These are used by the aliens. Okay, so that's insane. And I just wanted to show you guys that. Let's see what else I got to talk about. So that's the alien craft. Is there anything else I needed to... There we go, just more of the alien craft. If you guys want to see this again, look at this. That's what it is. It's a manta ray. Here, look, I got other pictures of manta ray right here. Okay, this is what a manta ray looks like, or a stingray. These are flying stingrays. Now, if you can also tell that these stingrays almost have like a face-looking thing, and they look like aliens, basically. But I think this is more like its nostrils and that's its mouth. But either way, they're very alien-looking. Also, this was disclosed in Galaxy Quest. In Galaxy Quest, there was like these reptilian types of aliens that used these type of craft. And here's our reptilian. Here's our leader, Saris. Again, almost like Predator with the crustacean type of thing, but he looks reptilian, but there's also like an insectoid or crustacean type of aspect to it. That is because the reptilians and the greys work together, okay? And they both collect adrenochrome, okay? And crustaceans and insectoids are also related. It's just the crustaceans are the insects of the sea. Okay, so that's what you guys really gotta understand here. I'm editing this in last second. This is by William Tompkins. Shout out to William Tompkins. This is what the reptilian ships look like, okay? The reptilian aircraft, whatever you want to call it. These are reptilian tankers, and these are not used for transportation. These are used specifically for chemtrails. I guess they could be used for transportation as well. Now, usually these are cloaked so you can't see them, but occasionally the reptilians are too high on adrenochrome, so they forget to cloak the ship, and in this case we could see them. Now you're probably saying, Shadow, isn't it the government that sprays the chemicals? Isn't it airplanes? And aren't they doing the cloud seeding and all that? Well, yes, but you gotta think about it. The reptilians, the Alpha Draconians, are the ones that tell the governments of the world what they have to do, and one of the things that they have to do is spray chemtrails. This is to keep the population controlled, but occasionally the humans don't do it, or they don't do it enough, or the reptilians want to, go out for a ride and then, spray, or maybe they got their own batch of chemicals. I'm not sure. But either way, occasionally, probably all the time too, I don't know, the reptilians use these reptilian tankers to, to do the chemtrails as well, to spray. And now, usually, like I said, they're close. So usually, whenever you see a chemtrail and there's nothing in front of it, or it's like a little dot in front of it, or something like that, it's usually one of these reptilian tankers, or reptilian ships, whatever you want to call them. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Pretty sure that's it. Any questions or comments, please, leave it below. Let me know what you guys think about this. It's all for now. Shadow Files out.